Hi everyone, and welcome to Follow Your Arrow. I've got two ways home here with me today, and we've got Izzy and Lewis that have come to have a bit of a chat about their new music and what's happening. Hi both, how are you?
Hello!
Hello, and we are really good, I
Yeah,
think.
we're good.
So you just said to me that you're in Tenerife. That sounds lovely. So what are you doing out there?
We actually we've actually come out here to continue writing the final few songs that we are working towards for our album.
Oh, amazing. Okay, cool. So we're going to go into the album a little bit later on, but as I was fairly new to your music recently, I just wanted to have a bit of a chat with you and for any listeners to find out a bit more about both of you, where you're from, and sort of how the band really formed together.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So I'm from Vienna, Austria. And when it came to going to university, I actually chose to go to England and go to university in England because I wanted to study music and I wanted to study popular music. So
Okay.
basically, in Austria, there's a lot of classical music, but not so much popular music. So I went to England and then I met Lewis at university in London.
Oh, great. Oh, wow. And yeah, Lewis, what were you studying there?
Well, again, yeah, I come from Gloucestershire, from a tiny little village, and as soon as I got to 18, moved to London and started studying music. And then when I was there, I realised that that was what I wanted to do for my career and for the rest of my life. And I've stayed in London ever since. But we met both studying music, and I actually played for Izzy's pop rock covers band first. She needed a guitarist, and I went to the audition because some friends said I should check it out. So we started playing in this wedding band, playing everything from like Michael Jackson to Kelly Clarkson, I think.
Yeah, and then that kind of fell apart, and then we started writing together.
Yeah. And you kind of got into sort of its alternative country, would you say? And is that how you would describe the kind of music you're putting out there?
The thing is, with us, when we first started playing together, we actually didn't really define what kind of style we were making because we were just kind of writing songs in the style that we liked. So there was a lot of acoustic guitars and a lot of kind of harmonies. And then a lot of our friends kept saying, "Oh, you kind of sound a little bit country," and we have a lot of American friends. And they kind of came up to us and said, you should check out the country scene because we think that you'd really like that kind of style. And then
And
we
I
kind
think
of
we both sort of we'd heard bands like the Civil Wars or Lady Antebellum, and I think
Yeah.
that was our into country music, the slightly more kind of, I don't know, like maybe more mainstream, more poppy, rocky side of country music. But then we took a trip to America and went to Nashville in, I think, in 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
And we really checked out what was going on in the scene. And I think we went for 3 weeks and learned so much about what kind of sound we wanted to make there and then. And then we came back with sort of a slightly fresh mindset and approach to exactly what we wanted to do musically.
Amazing. And from reading about you both, you have a lot of different musical instruments that you play and perform. So, do you want to tell us a bit more about what we can expect to hear when you're performing?
Yeah, so we kind of have two different setups. So sometimes we play as a duo or trio, which kind of is more of a stripped back setup, but then we also have a full band, which is more rocky and high energy. Um,
And when we play as well, really when we play as anything, I play acoustic guitar and sing mainly, and Izzy will sing and play a bunch of different stuff.
yeah,
So
so I play mandolin, ukulele, and auto harp.
Oh,
And
wow.
then we have an electric guitarist as well who sings as well, which is very nice to get like the three-part harmony.
Yeah, definitely. That's a real range. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, great. So, who would you say inspired you both musically? Who are your influences?
Um, so for me, I kind of grew up listening to a lot of soul and R&B music. And also Michael Jackson was always on kind of around my house, and like Tina Turner, kind of big voices like Whitney Houston, people like that.
Yeah.
Then
and I think I grew up on a lot of rock, and like I first picked up a guitar when I was about, I think maybe 10, 11, and I loved AC/DC and bands like Free and Led Zeppelin and things like that. But I guess my early exposure to country in the UK would have only been things like the Eagles or Lynyrd Skynyrd, or like remember learning tunes like Sweet Home Alabama.
Great
But I
song.
suppose,
Love that
yeah.
song.
But I suppose, especially in my head, like for top vocalists, we just saw the Bohemian Rhapsody film, and like Freddie Mercury has always been my like idol vocalist, I think.
Yeah.
For me, he's awesome. So.
But
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
if we look at country or just bands that we like at the moment, I think Brothers Osborne are very high in our books, and then Lucy Silva's.
Yeah, I really love a Nashville guy. I think he's as renowned as a writer as he is as an artist. But Sean McConnell's really cool. And we're listening to, like I definitely find now we're listening to a ton of country music, which is really nice. But I think it's one of these genres where you can really pick and choose, and there's so many different sounds within it that I think we can love country music, and still there's loads of areas of the genre that we don't really listen to enough of.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is so varied, and I think it's changing all the time, which is what's been great. And there's so many emerging acts coming from the UK now, and all different types of sound. And I think that's what I personally really love about the genre, that it's always changing. It doesn't define itself in any way. And your music, listening to your stuff, it's quite varied, and I really like that, because there's so much stuff that's quite upbeat and then a bit more serious, and very sincere music. And I feel like you guys are very natural with it. It doesn't feel like it's pushed in any sort of way. It kind of just comes very naturally. And I love your Outlaws video. That was great. Just really different and just really interesting. I love that. And
music videos are very tricky, as I'm sure like loads of acts at kind of our level will probably agree with us, in the sense that you can spend as much on a music video as you can recording your whole EP. They can be super expensive or super cheap, and we've sort of tried to do both. I think Outlaws was one of the ones that we definitely tried to make on more of a shoestring budget. But
it's really clever. I really liked it. Yeah, it's really good. And I like Just For Now as well. That's very upbeat as well. I like the mixture that you guys produce in there as well. So let's talk about songwriting. It's an area that I'm really interested in, and I guess you both known each other for quite a long time now. So what is the process for you both? And you write together? Do you write apart? How does it work?
So both, really, and we also write quite a lot with other artists, like doing the co-writing thing. But when me and Lewis just write together, I think it always just starts with an idea one of us came up with, or maybe a little riff, or just a word that just sparks something in our minds, and then we kind of go from there. So that's kind of how a lot of our songs just appeared. Sometimes it can go quite fast, but sometimes it just takes ages. Like Just For Now, the song that you just mentioned, actually we had totally different chorus for that for a long time, and we didn't really like it. And then it took like 2 years to kind of rewrite and figure out what would fit better, and then we came up with that, and then we were kind of happy with it, so we went with that.
Writing an upbeat. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna.
Verse is very easy, but writing an upbeat poppy chorus is not always so straightforward.
I see. Yeah. And do you normally start with the words, or is it the music, or is it a mixture depending on the song?
It's a mixture for sure, but I think often we tend to go with lyrics first, rather than like coming up with a melody and then putting the lyrics to it. I think writing for a melody, sometimes I feel like I want more constraints. Like if there's no constrictions on what melody you can write, sometimes you can be there forever, kind of humming different tunes, thinking what really fits. But sometimes if you've got a really nice lyric or a really nice sentence that you can shape the chorus around, I think it's easier to put the melody to that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you had a busy summer. You were at the Long Road Festival and Millport Festival, so Nashville in London as well. So been out on the road a long time. And you've got an album coming up. And what's coming up then? What's next for you guys for 2019?
Okay, so basically we are making our first full-length album, which is very exciting. We've already done 3 EPs where we were kind of trying out what kind of producers we want to work with, what sounds are good for us. But now we're making the jump and making a full-length album, which is crazy, I think.
It's so
That's
much more of a
exciting.
daunting. Yeah, it's so much more of a daunting experience than an EP. Because I think with an EP, you still don't need like masses of time in the studio, and you're also looking just to write kind of 4 songs, and you're looking to write 4 singles if you can. But with an album, it does give you scope to actually write some more album tracks that don't necessarily need to catch the listener in the first 30 seconds. They can really kind of spread their wings a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you've already had so much critical acclaim from the EPs, and they've all gone down very well. So I guess there's a bit of pressure on for the album, but I guess that gives you a chance to expand a bit more into what you want to sort of go, sort of the different stories behind the songs.
Yes, exactly.
We also opted for recording all new songs, so we're not actually re-recording any of our old songs. So that's also quite daunting. It's like,
oh wow, okay.
Gotta write some more stuff.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. And you're both, so the Two Ways Home is independent, isn't it? So you have to kind of build everything yourselves.
So yeah, actually that's kind of a nice lead on to our Indiegogo campaign, which we're doing. So basically for this album, we wanted to, because as you know, sometimes making an album can be quite expensive. So we wanted our fans, family, and friends just to have the opportunity to support us and help us out. Basically, you can pre-order the album, which would really help us because then you're already putting money into the actual process of making it.
And it's just given us an opportunity to kind of offer some cool content and different merch, and we'll also be having a special listening party for the album, which you can only get through the Indiegogo campaign. So it's been nice to think outside the box and really expand on our brand and like what we want to produce, I suppose.
Yeah, it's great because you get to have a say over your own music, and that's really, really cool and important as well. So that sounds great. And if people want to hear you live, so you're playing Nash Nights next Saturday, the 10th of November at Under the Bridge. So what can we expect from that gig?
Well, we've been playing, I think a lot of people have seen our act at a like a writer's round or as a duo. But we decided for this one, as it is a club night and it's Nash Nights, we would tailor our set a little bit more to be like an upbeat, dancey country vibe. So we've tried to go for all upbeat numbers. Might even be a few covers hidden in there, which we very rarely do. I think it takes us too long to learn the lyrics. But we'll be given a high energy performance, I would say.
Yeah.
So we have that show for people who want to rock out and maybe even headbang. And then we have another show
on the 4th of December, which is at the Bedford in Balham, which is more of like a writer's round style. We actually run a monthly writer's round, which is called the Roundup at the Colonel Fawcett in Camden. But our last one has just been for the year. So it's quite nice in December. We're just jumping on the bill with some of our friends at the Bedford to do a writer's round in December. But then the Roundup is going to start back up in February next year. So that's going to be exciting as well for 2019.
Amazing. You've got a lot going on, a lot happening, and we'd love to catch up with you a bit later on next year and see how you're getting on with the new album release. And yeah, definitely. So your new single is As I Leave, is that right, at the moment, that you have out?
Yeah.
That is true. We went into the studio and recorded 6 tracks, and As I Leave was this kind of, it was the 6th song. It didn't fit as well as some of the other ones did on the EP. And it was a bit of a slower, more of a ballad number, but we really wanted to get it out there and really like the song. We actually wrote it in Nashville with 2 friends of ours who have a duo called the Young Fables, which are brilliant and well worth checking out. 2 people called Laurel and Wes.
Yeah.
So we really excited to get that song out, and also I get to play an electric guitar solo in it, so we can,
amazing. Wonderful, and it's a great song, so do have a listen at that for that. Izzy and Lewis, thank you so much for having a chat with me, and we'll definitely be keeping in touch about what's happening, and then do check out Nash Night next Saturday if you get a chance. Thank you for having a chat, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks so much for talking to us, Samantha. Bye bye.
See you. Bye.